Oi, what's up? It's Demented, and I wanted to do another video that's pretty analytical, but also, I guess in a way, could be conceived as controversial, because I'm gonna be jumping the gun in a lot of ways, trying to kind of predict where Valiant could go with their next roster. I think it's going to be a really interesting thing to do because I don't think there's been a lot of teams that have been kind of built around China besides like very far and few ones, as by the likes of Spark and Hunters. So there's not too many that we have, and I think adding more to that is definitely going to be interesting. But really quickly, before I actually start the video, I want to apologize for the lack of content. It's been a couple days since I've uploaded, and I've kind of felt bad about it, but at the same time, I've been trying to work on myself as a player, and if you've watched my streams at all, which haven't been consistent as well, but you would know that a while ago I actually streamed going through old contenders VODs of China in particular when these leaks were first announced, to see if I could kind of find a really good roster that they could make from the get-go, and something that would be really I guess a cool little challenge for myself. So with that out of the way, again, I'm sorry, let's get into it. So I actually have a list of people that I think are really good Chinese talent, and more than anything should be deserving. And I think starting it off with 800 is going to be a really good start. Although the asterisk by all of these people being 800, Night God, and Monk are all people that I'm not entirely confident in, and that I don't think that they would be a completely solidified pick. So I forgot to mention this earlier, but the way I'm going to structure this video is going to be at the very beginning, I'm going to kind of throw out all of my just pure Chinese talent, but I've also heard leaks about them going to not only China, but also making a mixed roster between China and Korea. Then so with that, I have another list here as well that I think are really good pickups if they open up, I guess, kind of the floodgates a little bit into Korea as well. And I guess that's it for the most part. And then after all that, I have a rough best roster, I think synergy wise, that they could make, also mapped out all on a second monitor that I will drag onto the screen later. So back on the topic of 800, I think 800 was really good at doing team-orientated plays whenever I watched them play last time. They're from Flag Gaming, who has had a fair amount of, or at least, has had, this is fucking where it is, my bad. Has had a fair amount of success in their run through Chinese contenders, and overall I think he's one of the stronger people to come out of the Chinese scene, but in general I didn't see anything like super standoutish about a lot of Chinese main tanks, which I mean again is also going to be a drawback from watching from a kind of outsider perspective instead of knowing how comms are like and all that. But moving on to off tank. So my Chinese off tank of choice has been Zijin, and I think this was a pretty definitive one whenever I watched I want to say it was maybe October or November for Chinese contenders, and Zijin looked kind of a cut above the rest, was really proficient on, I believe, Diva was what I saw more than anything. The SIG needed a little bit of work, but the overall gameplay that I saw from Zijin's Diva looked like something that could show a lot of promise moving forward. and that I think would be something that can really, I guess, kind of elevate the level of off-tank play even higher than we've seen before. And that, I think, covers it for the most part. So, moving on, I have Dia, who, if you ask any person, like, just if you're going to make a Chinese team, like what kind of hit scan do you want, or who, like what kind of players do you want on the team, Dia's gonna be on your list, because Dia not only has previous Overwatch League experience, has just in general been a pretty consistent player, and I mean even throughout everything, being like all of the ups and downs that Shanghai went through, Dia was still able to not exactly be like some I guess like prolific person in that sense, but was really a just pretty good player. Like there wasn't anything that's like, you know, this is a like hard carry fucking player, but this is someone who has the experience that you would want moving forward in a team, and could also kind of bring that veteran aspect to a team like the Valiant, which they're obviously going to need. So moving on, the other hit scan that I picked out, which surprisingly, when I looked at Chinese contenders in general, hit scans were by far the like most standoutish role in out of all of roles. But C-Wave is going to be the 7th player that I have mentioned, or the 7th man on the team, I guess. When I saw C-Wave play, I believe for the most part it was on Sombra, and was overall like really good at building ults. Like time and time again was like pounding away in not only damage, but in turn ult charge, and the only thing that I saw that really needed to improve, or that left a lot to be desired, was the ult usage, because there were a couple times that you know, like maybe an EMP would be whiffed or something of that nature, and it would kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. But overall, I think there's a lot to work with C-Wave, and there's a lot of raw talent that just needs a little bit of coaching, a little bit of tweaking, and can be back up in the kind of higher tier levels. Now, again, this is someone else who has a asterisk by their name, Night God from First Fabulous Fighter. So Night God was someone that I looked at and wasn't exactly a scapegoat per se, but Night God was definitely kind of the only flex DPS that I saw that was at least not really attempting to stand out, but that would catch your eye, because all the other flex DPS were not only, for the most part, teams were running double hit scans, so it was already hard enough to find a flex DPS, like a full-on flex DPS that was actually playing. But Night God's Echo looked pretty good in terms of just overall follow-up with the rest of the team, and I didn't really see too much though that is going to like that would make me think that this is a concrete person that could get moved up. There's still a lot to be worked on with, I'm assuming, hero pool wise, assuming the only thing that I really saw was Echo for the most part, and maybe a little bit of Sombra, maybe a little bit of Tracer here and there, but nothing too flashy, and I think that's it. So after Night God, I have Mizuki. So if you did not hear my reaction on the live stream of me trying to look for, I thought finding a main support was going to be the most atrocious thing ever, and after the first fight of Busan Mecha Base, Mizuki did some insane plays that showed like really impressive survivability on top of really good peel for teammates, and I lost my shit at it. So obviously they're being like this players. Placements overall have been very not anything to be impressed by. I definitely think that if there's anyone that has the potential of getting picked up, it is Mizuki. I think it is definitely that they're definitely a hidden gem that is yet to be kind of found out, and I think once they do get that recognition, it's gonna be by fucking landslide, especially because having Mizuki would also bring in a little bit of I guess extra female representation, which I mean I guess isn't a huge thing because I've never seen anything like that. Like that's not exactly something that's needed per se, but it's definitely something that is going to get attention from people that are kind of outsiders looking in, and I think it overall would be probably good for press. So for my final full Chinese roster player, I have Monk, which I had / still have no fucking clue what flex support out of all the people in Chinese contenders really deserved to go up, because I didn't see a lot of outstanding stuff, which I think that's mostly what I look for, because I think if you're looking for someone in contenders, you're looking for someone that sticks out, not only as a player in general, but just on their role. Someone who like is gonna be like definitely a cut above the rest in contenders, and that's what's gonna elevate them to that Overwatch League status. And I didn't really see that with Monk, which is why I have the asterisk next to his name. I mean, outside of that, I like the Zen was really good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time kind of a Zen one trick, hence the name. And I think on top of that, like just overall, I don't even feel confident like saying it right now, that like overall, if you take this exact roster and like copy it and paste it into Overwatch League, that's definitely a bottom tier team in my eyes. But it wouldn't be if they open the floodgates to Korea, which I will talk about now. So moving on to the Chinese Korean mixed roster I guess mixed roster pickups that I have been looking at are listed here, with as well as the still previous Chinese players added as well. So starting this off, the only other tank that I really saw stand out, at least out of the ones that were playing, the first being Belarus. I really liked what they were doing, and they're obviously now on T1. But with that, I was a really big fan of their team play, because I saw, although I did see good team play as well from 800, the only downside to Belarus was the times that there were a couple mistimed plays that I saw that kind of steered me away. And originally I just had this as one compact list, and I believe I did have Belarus with an asterisk. But if you're gonna open up the floodgates, I definitely think that's someone you can consider picking up. And with that, on top of still having Belarus playing, you can also have Kane, who was the off tank for like this player. There's going to be a lot of like this players from this or I guess on this list, and I think that is also going to show up in my best roster thing, because I really think that right now they being Valiant put themselves in a really shit situation in terms of timing. They don't have that much time to work with, so it's going to be very hard for them to kind of work towards getting synergy with, as long as they're working with or if they're working with no real initial synergy from any of the people. So I think that they can kind of start with a base on that, but I'll get into that later. So mainly what I saw from Kane was this guy's Sig was absolutely insane, kind of terrorizing, and was doing a lot, and was, in terms of off-tank play, looked like a cut above the rest, as I've mentioned a lot of times before. So that would, like, I'm comfortable with saying that Kane could be the off-tank for Valiant going forward. And moving on, again, this is where I think Hitscan was definitely a easy role to find in China. They, I guess, do a really good job of producing a bunch of Hitscan players. So moving on, Innovation. Innovation, someone who was on Team CC, still is, and has kind of been the counterpart to Dia in a way. And I think that with that, you kind of have to think about, if you elevate both Dia and Innovation, there also can be your synergy can be there. I guess just a really quick callback to Dia as well. I think a lot of this would, or a lot of these deals are going to ride on how much players are asking for. Because Team CC could just be, or at least most of the people on Team CC could be waiting to go up into the league until they get like just the right opportunity to really show how much they can pop off. But I definitely think Innovation is someone who's kind of been low-lighted underneath Dia in terms of, or not Korean contenders, but Chinese contenders. I really think Innovation, if given the opportunity to, will absolutely shine and will perform extremely well. Saw stuff like Sombra, a couple other things that I can't really remember right now because I'm kind of thinking of a lot, but Innovation was definitely someone that I would look out for, if not during this off season, just during maybe the regular season could be a pickup kind of out of nowhere. I would not be surprised in the slightest. Now moving on to Around. Around is someone who, when I saw Around with someone by the likes of Mizuki, the main support, I was pretty much astounded, especially by the Ashe play that I saw out of Around. And Ashe isn't even one of the signature heroes, as you see here. The only big problem is the age. So even though Around would be more of age going into, I guess, later into more or less next season, that's definitely someone that I think is going to, if my roster as predicted happens, could be a big kind of boost to the team and how they're playing. So going into the next player, Proper. So Proper is someone who has pretty much been a constant player in the O2 Blast roster, and O2 Blast has been having a pretty good time going into the, I guess, more recent splits of contenders. having a good couple wins of contenders under the belt. O2 Blast has never been a, I guess, really main state of a like a team that is like, if you immediately think of Chinese contenders, you don't exactly think of O2 Blast off the start. But Proper is someone who has been kind of the again, in the way that Innovation is to Dia, Proper was to Pelican. And as soon as Pelican got moved up to the Atlanta Reign, people were able to be like, yo, Pelican is like absolutely insane. And having Proper be kind of not necessarily a rival, but more of a duo with Pelican, and still able to kind of bounce back between the two of just really good DPS play, I think that can also speak to where Proper is going to land. So again, Proper is 17, so this is, again, kind of a reach, but I still really think that it's someone that they can look at, you know, if not this season, signing going into, I guess, next year. It would be different from, I guess, that into just where they're going to lie in this season. So I'm thinking a little bit further in the future, but I guess that's just where I'm at right now. Moving on. Valentine. So now we're getting into flex DPS, I believe. Flex DPS. Because Night God, again, as I said, I was not very confident on, but Valentine is a name that a lot of people have known for kind of a while. Has been kind of making a lot of noise in the Korean contender scene. The only thing that I'm afraid of when I put Valentine on this list is that I have heard leaks of Valentine possibly already going to the Uprising, which, if he is good, I would be happy to see him in the league regardless. But just as it stands now, if they're, I guess, quick to the punch and they're able to pick Valentine up, that'd be a really big value pickup overall. And yeah, overall, really solid player. So next, Assassin. Assassin is from, or I guess X Runaway. I believe he got dropped. Yeah. So Assassin and a couple other people got dropped by Runaway, which I found to be very interesting in thinking about all of the players that got dropped could probably go somewhere. And I think Assassin is definitely one of those. Assassin's hero pool is very interesting in terms of it's just kind of your typical flex DPS, but I think they've been a consistent player forever. Assassin with Merit as well has been a super good fucking combo, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing them kind of hit the ground running in the league. But you know, I guess only time will tell. So again, I still think that kind of the only good pickup you can really make with main support going in a Chinese direction is Mizuki. So I'm gonna leave that there. On top of that, the only other main support that I can think of that you would want to pick up would probably be looking at Faith. And Faith, although is a very good player, I'm pretty sure is spoken for again by Boston Uprising, but could always be wrong. So moving on, again, I said that flex support was not a role I was very confident in picking, especially someone like Monk. So the people I was looking at were Unique and Revenge, and I'll get into Revenge in a second. But starting on Unique, Unique is someone with Element Mystic experience and was a very not, I don't want to say crucial part, but was very flexible in how they played. And although they're on T1 right now and have kind of always been able to be one of the people playing very highly in the league, Unique is definitely a flex support that stands out, and I think it's just a matter of time until scouting really comes through for teams to see Unique and pick them up. And I guess it's a matter of scouting as well as Unique finding a team that he gels well with. I don't see a reason that Unique wouldn't get picked up sometime soon, I believe. So moving on to Revenge. Revenge is someone who doesn't really need that much of an introduction. A lot of people forgot about him, actually. But Revenge is someone who is, I believe, ex-Hangzhou Spark, which is by no means a bottom tier team, but is not necessarily a top team either. But Revenge was always someone who had a fair amount of I don't want to say tricks up their sleeve, but was always able to get the job done and get it done well. Especially like when I think of Revenge, a lot of the characters that I mostly think of are Zen and Ana. So those kind of, in a way, frag heavy characters that I think really are gonna push whatever team decides to pick up Revenge to the next level. I really vouch for Revenge, and I think that's it for the mixture of Chinese and Korean talent. And I guess the most experimental part of this video has come upon us for what in my opinion would be the best roster, but this is mostly in terms of synergy and what makes sense to me synergy wise. So this would probably be I don't know exactly how good it would be in terms of how it would match up to other teams, but a lot of these are LTP players, being Belisria, Kane, Around, and Mizuki. Around wouldn't be playing very much, but I also think you could get the Innovation Dia duo, and that would be really good. Again, Unique is someone who I think has pretty much full flexibility in terms of flex supports that you could go to, and Assassin's hero pool is pretty solid as well. So I think that kind of 7-man roster would be a absolute, not really a force to be reckoning with, but I think it would definitely be more middle of the pack than if they go something full budget. And I also think that even though this might be considered a full budget like team in terms of, you know, maybe these names not being anything super crazy, I think there's a lot of potential here, possibly. So I would have to definitely wait and see a little bit about that. But in terms of this video, I think that's gonna do it pretty much. I was gonna make another list of the best roster for performance, being like, these are just the best people if they just signed all the best people that were playing right now. And but I tried to mostly keep this Chinese mixed with Korean. And if you don't know, although Belisria, Kane, Around, Around are all people that are South Korean, and that the majority of this team is South Korean, Belisria, Kane, and Around have all played on LTP, which is a primarily Chinese roster. So with that, I guess there's my little explanation to how it still kind of ties into being Chinese in a way. With that, I'm going to thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all so much. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, and I apologize once again, But in the future, I'm gonna keep trying to at least think of semi-original ideas. I pretty much don't, just for the most part, don't want to put out like random dog shit content, and instead want to at least put a little bit of research and a little bit of analysis into it to give a little bit of insight, instead of just blindly being like, wow, look at Valiant team bad, they fucking did wrong, whatever. Of course, I do think they did wrong, but I think it might be a little more harmful to sit and kind of watch the dumpster fire keep happening with Valiant, and instead of like sitting and watching the flames rise, kind of looking and being like, so where are they gonna go after this? And I think that's something that I hopefully did pretty well in this video. I guarantee people are going to like partially agree, but for the most part disagree with most of the things, if not one of the things on this list. If there's anyone that I missed that you think is a really good player, feel free to comment them and let me know why. I obviously was like very tired when I did this stream, so towards the end I was kind of reaching for a couple of roles that I was just like, man, I really just don't want to be awake anymore to do any of this shit, and there's like, they all are like the same in terms of how average they are. So again, with that, that's going to be the end of the video. I love you guys so fucking much, and I will see you when I see you later.